And welcome back to Art Class. Today we're going to focus on a new artist called Pablo Picasso, and he was mainly known for being a painter and sculptor, and his focus was on the style of Cubism. As you can see in these pictures that are passing by, Cubism is an odd style for most people. Some people really like it, and then some people really don't like it. And it's okay to feel either way about that particular style. It's a style that's basically where you're taking the look of more than one angle and you're showing it off at the same time. So you might have a front view and a side view at the same time. You're also going to overly simplify the shapes of your whatever your subject is, whether it be a person or an object. As you can see in a lot of these, it really breaks down people into weird and odd shapes. Some are really colorful and some are a little bit more muted in the browns. It just kind of depends on what the artist wanted at that particular time. In this case, Pablo Picasso. I want you to take a look at these, and then we'll move on to our project. Let's get started with our project. Now that you know a little bit about Picasso and the Cubism style, we're going to go ahead and get started. You're going to need a few things. You're going to need a white piece of paper. You're going to need a Sharpie marker. Will work. Black colored pencil will work. You could probably even use a Crayola marker that's black, but something that's a thin tip is the better way to go. You're going to want a pencil. My eraser kind of stinks, so I have a big eraser. And then you're going to want to look at these sheets as you go. So now I have mine printed out so you can see them as we're working here, but I have given you images through Google Classroom so that you can actually just look on your iPad as you go. Now they're kind of similar. A lot of people like this sheet because it's a little bit simpler drawing, but basically if you look at the two sheets, just different ways to draw the eyes. Both of these are kind of taken from different the Cubist pictures that Picasso had done over the years, so either one would work okay. So we're going to be making our own Cubist person. Okay. Now remember that Cubism means the faces and things are going to be different shape. They're not going to look exactly normal. Okay. So one of the things you're going to do is you're just going to kind of fold your paper. Let's see. I'm going to do this that was 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 6, 4. So you're going to need to fold it at least 4 times. If you notice, I kind of did it from one from every angle, or one from every side, basically. Let's see. And I think I want one more. Kind of looking at my lines here. Let's have that one kind of divided up. Okay. So this part's pretty easy. You're going to fold it. You don't want millions of folds. That's not a good idea. It actually makes things way harder. You only want to fold it about 4 or 5 times. You can do this next part freehand, or you can do this next part if you have a ruler available or a straight edge. It doesn't even have to be a ruler. It could be a straight edge. So if you have a marker box, you could do this. All you're doing is you're going to be tracing your folds with your Sharpie marker. Okay, so I'm going to do this with my marker box because it's a straight edge. And since my folds are pretty straight, it's going to make it pretty easy. Okay, now I've got my face folded. Okay. Now you're going to need to choose, or not my face, my paper folded, and I have my lines drawn. So next what we're going to do is you're going to figure out which way you think it would look best. As I'm looking for a space where I think the face would work. Okay, so I'm going to turn my paper. I think my face would work really good in this basic spot with the lines crisscrossing through. I think that's a good space. Okay, so it's not perfectly centered, it is off center. Okay, and then I can start to draw in some of my features. Okay, so I know the nose. I can kind of look here. Which way do I want the? I think that's probably the best way. So your paper could go this way or it could go this way. It depends on what looks best for you. And I'm gonna stick with this sheet here just so I can give you the kind of the basics here. And notice that it has different shapes, faces here. We really don't have to worry about that row because we're using the lines that already exist for that one. Your biggest focus is gonna be on the eyes, nose, mouth, and then ears. So let's figure out the eyes. All right, so and remember, the eyes don't have to be perfectly level. They can be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. So this is not gonna look normal, and that's okay. So those of us that always have problems drawing people, this is your opportunity to, if you make a mistake, nobody will ever know. Okay, so for me, I think the first one, I'm gonna put a sideways eye here. I'm gonna kind of copy his. I'm gonna do it in pencil because that way I can erase. Let's see. Let's give it a little bit of a, like that. And then I think I'm gonna do, I like this eye with the eyelash there. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna do this one. I kinda like this closed eye. I don't do closed eyes very often, so I'm gonna actually use the line, straight line here. There's my eyelash. Okay. Nose. I kind of like this curly one. So I'm going to tilt my paper and make it kind of slanted. Let's see. There's my nose. Mouth. I kind of like that one. Let's see, it's right over here. I'm gonna go with that kind of mouth, and let's see. I'm gonna have it slightly slanted. Turn my paper here, and so I'm doing this is kind of M. And it comes down a little bit further than it should. Like that. Now notice I have kept the eyes, nose, mouth relatively kind of close where they should be. So one might be a little bit higher, one might be a little bit lower. It's tilted. So putting an eye down here where the shoulders would be would not make a whole lot of sense. You do have to keep it on the face and relatively close to where it needs to go. I need a big old eyebrow for this one. There's my eyebrow. Let's see, I should probably put an ear in, so let's look at my sheet here. What kind of ear? Oh, there's a ear. I put that ear a little low. And I think I'm gonna put a, there we go. That's the ear. And then this one, put a close ear. There's that. And this one kind of has a female look to it, so I am going to give her some hair. Actually, that should probably be straighter. And then I'm going to have her hair come off. Like that, like kind of like a hairs behind her head there. I'm not going to worry about a neck or shoulders. And then once you have it drawn, You just go in with your black colored pencil, black marker, and you're going to Sharpie outline. So it is recognizable as a person. And that's kind of what you're going about, is just barely recognizable as a person. Think kind of like Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, okay? So that, you know, it's gonna be a little weird, a little warped. Do not get like bogged down. If you don't like what happened here, and if you're doing it in color pencil, you could possibly flip your paper over if you're not seeing it. Mine you can kind of see through because I use Sharpie. But you can do this more than once if you're wanting to get something, kind of a specific look, or if yours is a little too far off. Okay. It shouldn't take you that long to draw and do this. We're not worried about coloring this time. We're just going to get this far today. Make sure you also go in and erase any pencil lines that don't belong there. You know what? I want that eye. I like that. I'm going to have them overlap like that because they would overlap in a real picture. Okay, and at this point, I just need you to take a photo of this, upload it to Google Classroom so that I know you got this far, and then I will see you next week for finishing this up.